Welcome back, I am Captain Xavier, and it's Friday, and that means Q&A and fan mail, starting with the Q&A. Nicholas asks, if you could have any Nerf gun, past or present, what gun would you choose? Is this blasters I don't have, because Ire is still on the top of my list. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on a proton pack by Out of Darts. I'd love to get an altimeter or a hydro cannon, just because they're fun. The Curator has a couple of really old ones that are pretty shiny. The ones that he featured in his most recent video, I'll link it below. He had a whole collection of some of the most powerful old blasters, so any of those would be kind of fun. Gamma Prism. Dear Captain X, could I get your opinion on my Ragnarok thus far? So, most of you have no context for this. He sent me some pictures of a blaster that he's been working on, and it is a beast. The base is a Rapid Strike, and then it has a Firefly stock, and a Air Zone Predator Gatling gun barrel. And when this thing gets all done and painted up and completed, it is going to look like the ultimate heavy weapon from some kind of sci-fi. It's going to be wicked, and I cannot wait to see it completed, and I hope he does video of it in action. So that's my opinion. Mikhail Markov. Dear Captain, would it be possible to make a Nerf M32 grenade launcher that fired Demolisher missiles? Well, yes. A better question would be, is there an easy way to make an M32 grenade launcher that fires Demolisher missiles? Because, we have spaceships today. So, yeah, the technology obviously exists. Would there be an easy way to do it with existing stuff just by doing integrations? I've thought of a couple of ways to do it. The trickiest part would really be the rotation mech. Frankly, I think you could do a 4-shot launcher using like an XBZ or something that had a bolt that connected the air tank to the back of a cylinder. But you probably have to rotate it manually. The one thing that I've considered, a couple of people have asked, and I've kind of looked at it, and that is the Doominator, because it has 4 cylinders, and if you replace the cylinders with rocket pegs and put a larger barrel on it and redid the mounting, you could hypothetically use the rotation mech to rotate each rocket into place and then have a bolt that slid in behind their peg to seal it to the tank, because if you just try to do a friction fit, you're going to lose all your pressure out the side. You might be able to do it. But quite frankly, I don't think it's even remotely worth it. It would be much, much easier to just use an actual XBZ and just reload it from a pouch. It would be faster than rotating the cylinder, filling the breech, pumping it up. I honestly think it would be quicker to just reload an XBZ or any single rocket launcher. But I think it would be really cool if somebody wanted to give it a try. And I might someday. I've genuinely considered it, but it's very low on a very long list. Alex Nam. Question. Do own a whiteout long strike? No. Dragon Blaster 10,000. Once you have access to a 3D printer, what will be the first thing that you print for Ire? Probably some Nerf rail to Picatinny rail, honestly, just because it's a good thing to learn how to calibrate your printer on. And I used the one that I had on somebody else's commission, and I need a new one to hold the flashlight laser sight combination that I have on there. So that will probably be early on the list. One thing that I would also like to eventually print is a new lower trigger. Something a little bit larger, a little bit more comfortable. And that's really it for Ire. I have other things that I need stuff 3D printed for, new projects that I'm looking forward to someday having access to a 3D printer and doing that. So, Amazing World of Marshmallow Mellow. When did you start liking Nerf guns? When they started making Nerf guns, honestly. Actually, Nerf is a little bit older than I am, but I've always liked the idea of dart blasters. I kind of didn't really do anything with Nerf anywhere in the 80s and 90s. I was too busy with my Lego. But once I got involved in HVZ and saw the N-Strike line, I think the first really modern Nerf blaster that I remember seeing was a Vulcan, which was amazing. It was belt fed, it was fully automatic, it was a thing of opulent beauty, and I loved it. And then got into HVZ and went nuts, and now you know where that led. Let's see. Jacob Sorensen. Hello, Captain X. First of all, try to pronounce my last name. Okay. Secondly, have you seen that an Apollo 5 Lego set has been made? If not, check out Tested with Adam Savage. Would you buy and build this set? No. I have seen it. It's huge, and it's beautiful, and it's not my idiom. I like pirate, and I like castle, and it really doesn't have good parts for either of those, and I've never been one to buy Lego sets to build just as a model. I never really understood the idea of buying a Lego set, building it, and putting it on a shelf. I've always felt that Lego was for playing with, for being creative with, and just building the model from the instructions and then never doing anything with it. Never really was my thing. I know people who did. I've had friends who did, who they had just the displays of all the stuff that they gotten, and it was cool. But I like to play with mine, so yeah, that one's not on my list. Guy Manley. Question. Can you fit a drain blaster in a strong arm? As I have said numerous times, with enough epoxy, you can fit anything into anything. You could put a Centurion into a Jolt if you really felt like it and wanted to use enough epoxy. Will it fit easily? No. Drain blasters are considerably larger. They don't fit into a strong arm's shell well at all. You could cut up a strong arm shell and glue parts of it to the outside of a drain blaster, sure. Titans fit beautifully into strong arms. I've done that build. And there's a couple of blasters that drain blasters fit into. I used a barricade because it has such a large cylinder. But for the most part, I had to cut most of it up, and I was pretty much just putting little bits of shell around a drain blaster. So I don't think... There is a smaller drain blaster out there, a smaller red one, that might fit a little bit better, but once again, you're going to be cutting almost all of the shell off and just putting a little bit of it around there to get a vague look. It's not going to integrate anywhere near as cleanly or as pretty as my barricade or my Firefly ones did. So, Fatty Bocce. Mm-hmm. I also find the desire to touch my beard disturbing and all too common. Now to my question. If a train leaving New York City heading to Chicago at an average speed of a ferret on raspberries, will the moon change its relative gravity, thus changing the times of high and low tide? Asking for a friend. Keep up the fantastic work. The internet is above 9,000 now. This is a very important question that we need to get to the bottom of. Now, the formula for calculating the gravitational effect on the two objects have on each other is their masses multiplied, divided by their distance apart squared, times the gravitational constant, which is 6.67408 times 10 to the negative 11th. So if we take the moon's mass, which is estimated at 7.3467309 times 10 to the 22nd, it's big. Kilograms. Very big. And the average weight of a train, which I'm going with an average of 70,000 kilograms, multiply those and divide by the distance between Earth and the Moon, which is 384,400,000 meters. That squared, and then multiply that by the gravitational constant, and you get 2 newtons. So yeah. Either the train or the gravitational constant between them, or the gravitational pull between them, is a grand 2 newtons, which is about 1/5 the energy necessary to move 1 kilogram. So the train moving its location would in fact have an effect on the moon, but it would be so small as to be immeasurable. Over the course of 1,000,000 years, it might do something, but within a human lifetime, it's not going to do anything at all. As for ferrets on raspberries, the speed of the train has nothing to do with it because it doesn't affect the mass, until you actually approach the speed of light, and ferrets don't approach the speed of light unless you're mainlining Red Bull into them. So, Yeah, it would have an effect, but we'd have no way of even measuring it. It would be so small as to be completely negligible. So, yeah. Ian Almighty. What are your thoughts on vintage Vortex Tornado? I think it's neat looking, and I don't have one, and I don't need one because I have no plans to ever integrate one. I have seen somebody integrate one into a Strife. I think it would actually look better to integrate it into a Rapid Red, but other than that, I think they were neat that they fired, you know, the things that they fired, a very strange proprietary ammunition, but other than that, getting a hold of the ammo is harder than getting a hold of the blaster. Barry Orgar, Dear Captain X, have you or would you consider making a full auto Raven? And if so, do you reckon this is possible using an auto Strife kit? Yes, one of my 2 Elite Ravens is going to be made into an auto Raven, and yes, I am going to use the full auto Strife kit, and yes, I know it can be done because it has been done. Make Test Battle had a video of somebody who did it quite easily. It actually pretty much just drops in. You have to make a few modifications to the internals, but for the most part, it works great. You had to make your own little mounting bracket. He used a huge block of hot glue. I would probably use wood or a metal frame fabricated out of sheet metal to do it, but yeah, it can be done. Jones Kid 002 Jones. Hey Cap, a silly question. If you had the ability to shrink and grow at will, how long would you spend exploring your own Lego castle from the size of a Lego person, assuming all the rooms were lit up and such? Explore? Heck, I'd live in there. I'd build myself my own little, mansion. And just shrink down to there when I, needed to get away. I'd build myself an amusement park. I'd have all sorts. I built myself my own little flying device. You could ride around on a drone. It would be fantastic. And yeah, I would definitely live in my castle. It would be amazing. I'd alter the apartments to make them, fantastic. Luke B. Was Ire from Goodwill or brand new? Ire was brand new. The Stampede was still being sold in stores when I first built Ire back in 2012, I think is when I first acquired Ire. I just graduated from college, and I used some of my graduation money to buy a Stampede and a Barricade. And then, well, you know where it went from there. Taco Blade. Have you thought about putting a pump bazooka or a blast bazooka or something like that on your left arm in your HVZ loadout? I haven't. I do actually have a small rocket launcher that goes on my right or on my left arm. Fires little pop rockets. But I never thought of putting anything larger because there was only 1 or 2 HVZs that I was ever in where rockets did anything special. They did occasionally have super zombies that were shufflers that could only be taken out with rockets. Otherwise, you couldn't actually permanently stun them. They could run until you shot them, and then they had to drag their back leg. But if you hit them with a rocket, then they were stunned just like any other zombie. But since I have a rocket launcher on Ire, and I often had a backup XBZ on my shoulder, I didn't ever think of putting one on my arm. Now, for Nerf Wars, that's actually much more useful because of shields. Since the group we play with allows shields and they're becoming more and more prevalent, having a rocket launcher on that arm would be useful. I'm not sure mounted on the left arm would be the best placed for it. I might actually... Maybe. I might actually look into that. I like the idea. My friend Lance has a minimized XBZ that he built to make it underslung, and I always wanted to try to do a modular one, a really small one that could attach to rail, and then if I just put rail on my arm, I could attach it to that, and that would work. So I'm gonna look into that. Jeb Bertram, Q&A question. I am a noob, first off. But would it be possible to make a Big Bad Bow shotgun? I think your mods are the most cleanest, coolest, and the most creative. Yes, you could definitely do so. The Big Bad Bow has a very large, ridiculously large plunger tube because it's supposed to fire arrows, which are obviously many times the mass of a Nerf dart. So you could very easily make one, attach a sledge-fire shell. I think it would easily fire a 3-round. Maybe even like a wizard barrel with has 4, but the sledge fire is a much tighter fit. So It would easily fire 3-round bursts, which would actually be really, really cool. I like that idea. That might. I was planning to make my my K26 Big Bad Bow modular, and now I definitely kind of want to do that. So lasers. Have you tried to minimize and undersling a Roto Fury? And if you haven't, would you try to? I haven't, and it's not high on my list because the Roto Fury is big. It's easily the size of any primary that you would be attaching it to, which doesn't really make underslinging it practical. It's just too big and too long. D.W. Thomas C. I love your gem knowledge. Is there an end to your awesome? No. My awesome is infinite, I'm sure. The King. Hey, Cat. What do you think of Antonio Vivaldi's winter season music? It's beautiful and I love it. Cat Bacon Productions, NBK. What can you make out of an old Maverick cylinder? Well, you could probably make a pen holder. I think that would actually be kind of neat. I kind of want to make one of those now. I have my own little Maverick cylinder pen holder with like markers and like my chalk for writing on metal and stuff like that. And that would actually be kind of neat. Other than that, absolvers, and more absolvers. That's why I collected so many of them, and I still haven't got around to absolving most of them. I made a few, and yeah, they're lovely. So that's really the most common thing. I'm sure you could make a wind chime of some kind out of one. You could probably file it down and make a door stop. Salt and pepper shakers. That would be neat. Frisky object. For your next Q&A, if I got a spinner for you in your colors, would it get me something in return? Oh, what am I kidding? I'm just going to give it to you anyway. I don't get the obsession with fidget spinners. I didn't get the obsession with snap bracelets back when I was in elementary school, or Pogs in middle school. I have the one that Jomo sent me, the Lego one, and that's the one I really, really like because it is in my colors and it works lovely. Doesn't spin all that good. I tried lubricating it, and I think this may have been a mistake. I need to clean it and see if that helps, but it never hurts to send me stuff if you're trying to butter me up. Stephen Marshall, are you going to get any more new blasters? Yes? If you mean, am I going to get my hands on any of the ones that haven't been released yet? Probably not. The fact that I got a hold of the regulator was a fluke. And I'm not, since I don't do just pure reviews, there's really no value in me hunting down blasters that haven't been released yet. Paying hundreds of dollars for a blaster so that I can get it 6 months early when I could just wait till it comes to the store and get it for retail price. And the regulator was one that I wanted to get a hold of. I generally am not, big into new blasters because they haven't come out with a whole lot that really, truly excited me in a while. The regulator was an exception to that. I think it's a really neat idea, and I want to mod it up as good as it can. There's a couple others that are coming out, though oddly enough, they're not Nerf. I'm more interested in the Busby line. Both the Rail Blaster and the Thermal Hunter have definitely got my attention. Yeah. I want arrows from the Dreadbolt. I don't want the Dreadbolt itself, but I want the arrows. Bipedal Narwhal. Is your dream to one day become a Cygnar Cyclone? No, I'm actually more of a Warhammer Space Marine fan myself. Though I like the Cyclone better than the Space Marine Dreadnought, which are very similar in design, honestly. I think the Cyclone is a little bit more svelte. The Dreadnoughts are very, very blocky and look like they skipped leg day. So that's kind of... But I like the Space Marine armor. Robro! Have you thought about making an MP40 out of a Rapid Red? No? Personally, I think the Regulator makes a better MP40 because the magwell is already further from the grip, whereas on the Rapid Red, it's a little bit further forward, but not nearly as much as the Regulator is. That was kind of my thought when the Regulator came out, is that the magwell was strangely far forward, and then I got it and realized, no, this is actually very comfortable. It just needs a different location for the mag release, which is going to be easy to modify. So I'm looking forward to that. Scott Warrior. Lol, I love your awkward comedy. Also, do you like TF2? I assume that's Team Fortress 2. Never played it. Don't do first-person shooters. They make me motion sick. But I have seen a couple of videos that were made using Team Fortress 2 that I thought were hilarious. Most of their commercials, as well as the Yeah Toast video made using Team Fortress 2, fabulous. Zero Box. Captain, sir, I've come back and I have a question this time. What is your opinion on Lego Bionicle? As a general rule, I'm not a fan, and it's not so much that I don't have anything against it. It was just never even slightly in any way remotely interested me. What I do like about it is all of the joints and the interesting Technic parts that it has created, which has allowed for a lot of interesting internal structures for people who do things like make functional transformers. All the ball and socket joints that they have are actually very, very useful in that regard. But for the most part, I never really saw it as Lego. But that's just me. I've got a couple friends who are into it, so anytime I get a hold of any through various means, I give it to them. So. And finally, Seaman5785. Can we get some more Lego videos? Also, can you leave a Stampede completely stock electrically and add IMR's trust fires? Yes, there will be more Lego videos. There's actually probably going to be one later this evening, because it's Friday evening, and I will not have anything to do because I have no life. And I have going to do the dungeons, as well as some updates on the castle itself. After the last one, I was inspired to fix a number of things that I'd never quite fixed since before I moved here, because when I was actually building the castle in my last place, I ran out of parts, and then I moved here and found places where I could easily acquire parts, and hadn't gotten around to fixing, the keep and the gatehouse and a couple of other things. So I'll be showing off those, as well as doing a tour of the dungeons, which hopefully I can even remember where all the secret passages are down there. There's loads of them. So yeah, and then as far as the Stampede, yes, Ayer's electronics for her primary blaster are actually stock, other than some of the wiring. But because the Stampede usually runs off 6 D cells and has a fairly stout motor, it runs on, I think, a 360 motor. The electronics are a lot stouter than in most flywheel blasters that run off 4 AA's. So I ran Ayer on 4 IMRs for years without even touching the electrics. And I finally upgraded them a little bit, but for the most part, they're relatively stock. So yes, you can. All right then. On to the swag. All right then, now for packages. I have loads of packages. I'm getting spoiled. And a couple of letters. We will start with the letters. Varric W. Dear Chaylo, would you make the most modular blaster possible? I thought Ayer was the most modular blaster possible. Of course, she doesn't really have removable stocks or barrels when you really get down to it. Just different barrel attachments, which... yeah. Quite frankly, I think the Strife is the most modular blaster ever. I mean, there's dozens of barrels and stocks for that thing now, which... but I do have plans for some modular stuff. And you should make a little rival slingshot. It would be cool and could be as powerful as you would like while still being reasonably accurate. Actually, the pocket shot that I have will fire rival ammo, and quite well. Someone else was saying that just a simple slingshot would fire rival quite well, and I think they're right. I used to actually be quite good with a sling. Not a slingshot, but the old spin it around, 3 flat stones, kill a giant sling, which I used to fire tennis balls, and the occasional rock. I'll have to look into that. Just a simple... I like that. Okay. What would be a reasonable voltage mod for a modulus ECS-10 without burning out the motors? You can actually put 2 trust fires, or IMRs. Go with IMRs. They're better. They're more expensive, but they're better. They hold the charge better. You can get IMRs on Amazon for fairly cheap. If you get the 14500, they're the same size as the AA, so you can just put them in, and then you'll need 2 dummy batteries. And that will give you a slight voltage boost, not a huge one, but it will a noticeable one. If you go to 3, it will work, but you will burn out the motors and switches eventually. But 2, you can run it pretty much forever. So yeah, 2 IMRs and 2 dummy batteries, and you'll be good to go. And I went to my local dollar store and found some cool foam nunchucks. Do you have any ideas for them? Thank you for being on YouTube, and keep making great videos. Foam nunchucks. The medieval recreation group that I fought in, we did not allow any kind of a weapon that was on a chain because they work too well. They are designed to hit incredibly hard, and it's really hard to make them safe. But if they're completely foam, that would actually make an interesting melee weapon. And the nice thing about things that are on chain is they go around shields very well when designed properly. So they could, if your local group allows them, they're a perfectly good melee weapon. And I know a couple of people who have used them in our group, and they just have completely foam heads, and they'll are fairly safe. So yeah, and they're fairly easy to make a holster for because of their design. They would fit into most mag pouches or pistol holsters, or just stuck in your belt. So yeah, that's not a bad idea for a Nerf melee weapon. All right. Thank you for the letter. Dear Captain X, you are in my top 3 Nerf tubers with Coop772 and Lord Drac. I've made it to the top 3. I love Star Wars. I hope you can send me a Retaliator stock, and in return, I will send you a Lego R2-D2. Are we talking like the big set, the kit that's an R2-D2, or are we talking about the little minifig? Because just the little minifig, I have several of those, and that wouldn't be a particularly fair trade. But one of the larger set ones, that would actually, I would consider that a good trade. So, send me the Legos, and I would, yeah, we can talk. I hope you read this on Friday fan mail, of course. Also, if you send if I send you a Stormtrooper blaster, can it take a K-26 as Star Wars blasters? Then I like to say bye and stay tactical. Sincerely, David. I actually have the Stormtrooper blaster already. I assume we're talking about the First Order Stormtrooper blaster. I also now have the Death Trooper blaster, which by hook or by crook, I am going to make into a shotgun. And I think I've got a couple of other Star Wars blasters now, so I do plan to do, in the very near future, a Star Wars episode next season. I've got most of next season planned out already. I couldn't come up with a good special episode for the end of the last season, but I've got like the next 2 or 3 seasons, regular episodes already lined up. I just needed a week, so I did the silly one for fun. Okay, well, we can talk about the R2-D2 one. You can email me. My commission email address is in the description. Go ahead and email me whether it is the minifig or one of the bigger sets, and we can possibly discuss a trade. All right. Packages. Where to start? I'm going to start with one of these strange long ones. I know who these are from, because he just won't stop spoiling me. But I got a bunch of really long ones, and I don't know what's in them. Let us see what is in le package. Would you look at that? That is a very shiny, very well built foam katana. That is definitely harder than they're going to let me use at one of my local Nerf wars. But I think when you sent this, you mentioned that I could just put a pool noodle over it, and I think that would work. It doesn't appear to have if it has a core, it's a really wobbly core. That is really pretty. Thank you for that. Never been a huge fan of katanas in general. I favor the German longsword for two-handed slashing swords, but you just can't argue against the elegance of them. So that is very cool. Thank you for that. All right, let's take a look at the even longer one, which I had thought was going to be that cut here. Good Lord. There's a letter. Dear Captain X, salutations from Jack of All Trades. Pronounced trades. I have been watching your videos for 4 months and have seen your modular 5-foot-long melee blowgun. So I sent you one of my special blowguns. It is similar to yours, except that it doesn't shoot Whistler darts. It does, in fact, shoot elite darts. You may be thinking, how is this accomplished? You may be thinking, how does one accomplish such a feat? I actually am. First, you have to be outrageous madman. Second, it is a trade secret. Ha! Well played, sir. I do have a YouTube channel called Jack of All Trades. Your greatly surpasses mine in many ways. I'll have a link in the description. I recently hosted a Nerf war at my church. Usually I get 20 or 25 people to show up. Nice. This time I got 49 people to come. Whew. It was the coolest war I have ever hosted and have ever attended. Question, in your opinion, what makes a great Nerf war? Hope you like the blowgun. Keep up the great work. My little brother helped with spelling. God bless, Jack. Well, what in my opinion makes a great Nerf war? Well, location is a big part of it. If you can get, just an open field isn't nearly as much fun. A heavily wooded area where there's lots of cover is definitely fun. Places like Fort Warden, or I've done Nerf wars on big wooden castle jungle gyms at city parks. So just random kids were showing up and I was just doling out Nerf guns and running big wars in those. Those are all really fun. Location. The scenarios that you run also very, very much has a huge effect on the game. I personally highly recommend running games that don't actually involve anybody being permanently eliminated. Because being the first person eliminated and then having to watch everyone else have fun for the next half hour or however long it takes isn't any fun for anybody. So that's why in our local Nerf wars, they almost exclusively run games that have some sort of a victory condition. Capture the flag, or Titan Ball, or deliver the bomb, or sometimes they'll be timed, or each side will have a limited number of lives, and so once the team runs out of lives, everybody is dead. So that no one is ever just sitting around and not being able to do anything. HVZ is actually also an excellent game to play if you've got a fairly confined area, or, I like to do that one on jungle gyms where the humans have to stay on the jungle gym, but the zombies can move around however they want. And then when the zombies get shot, there's spawn points all around them, and they just immediately go spawn, and you just keep going until all the humans are dead, and then the last 2 humans become the first 2 zombies in the next round, or however many zombies you think you need to seed. If you're playing with 50, 60 people, you might want 4 or 5 zombies, and so the last 5 people to get turned become the seeds for the next round of zombies. Works very, very well with small children, because they like running around and tagging people and chasing people, and it's just a lot of fun. So, and finally, the biggest factor in any Nerf war will always be the people. If you get good players who play well with others, who aren't, cheating, who aren't showboating, who aren't running blasters that are so powerful that they hurt the little kids, that really makes a huge difference. Your rule set also is something that needs to be seriously considered. What weapons do you allow? And you can change that up from scenario to scenario. So in one time, we do ones where it's nothing but single-shot pistols, or anything goes, or, and that just takes practice, and it will vary from group to group. If you've got a group that are using nothing but stock blasters, you're going to have different rules than if you're running a group that's nothing but heavily modified blasters. If you're a group that allows shields, that changes things. Sometimes we have rounds where we do, sometimes we don't. It varies. So keeping it interesting is also very important. Don't let it get stagnant. You have to keep changing things up and coming up with new ideas to keep people coming back and interested. So those are my suggestions for how to make your Nerf wars better. And thank you for this. A blowgun that fires elites. That is fantastic. I may use it to replace the core on mine, because I'd much rather be firing elites, since that's what's lying around on the battlefield. So thank you for that. I will keep your secret and not tell anyone what's in it. I missed that. Look at that. He 3D printed the barrel attachment. That is magnificent. I will probably then not change mine. It's a little bit wobbly, so that's why I might use it in mine to reinforce it. But that is awesome. Thank you for that. Definitely needs work on the handle, but the foam is my color, so that is awesome. I think I'll actually just make a second one rather than altering my current one. I might try to make the core a little bit stronger in the handle area. Leave it flexible up here so it doesn't hit as hard, but definitely needs a little bit more so you're not getting as much whip, because that can that can knock a small child sideways. The 3D printed barrel attachment, that, sir, is awesome. I may have to reach out to you about getting that STL if you're willing, if you have it, or maybe you are getting your source on that. I won't tell anybody, I swear. Trade secrets will be kept secret. That is awesome. Thank you for that. On to more package. That's one of. We'll start with one of 3. This fellow has already sent me ridiculous piles of other stuff. Click the button. Always. Click the button? Click the button. Ominous. Alright. Oh, good lord. Skittles. Share size. Ha! As if anyone's getting any of my Skittles. Paradise Punch, Pink Lemonade, Kiwi Banana. Tangerine Watermelon. Lovely. Standard Skittles. Most excellent. Guardian of the Galaxy Skittles. Alright. We have a bit of stuff. All sorts of absolutely awesome random parts. I think they're Apollo gears. I'm pretty sure these are metal Apollo gears. These are from the Luminate, I believe, which is cool. I don't have Illuminate. Parts, you can never have too many parts. Alright, what else we got? Ooh. Stuff for jewelry making. Beads, bamboo rods, small bits of, is it jade? That would be awesome. You, sir! You spoil me. Okay. Oh, look. A letter. Greetings, Captain Xavier. It is I, Hunter, sending round 3 of loot and booty for you. This man is buttering me up for something, I know it. Couldn't find my normal pad of paper, so please excuse the yellow. Loved seeing the vintage episode and your reaction reading my letter, inquiring on it. Thank you for making the jewelry for me, for my mother. As you have no doubt found out by now, the lightsabers did ship with batteries. Yes, they did. I was hoping to see you play with them in the video. And were you able to fix the Firefly Tech magazine? I haven't actually gotten around to trying yet. Partial list of contents. Some Mavericks, some detachable goodies, 2 surprises for an offering, half of mod exchange. Tech target, in my opinion, IO with barrel, slight spring upgrade, Busby ultimate, snipe blast with barrel and decent spring upgrade. Can it take a K26? And a jolt with brass barrel, stout spring upgrade, and dual dart holders with AR removal. Sincerely, Hunter. P.S. 2 surprises. 1 is Nerf. 1 is Lego! Yes! Legos! Forgot to mention some more random parts and such for you to do terrible and wonderful things to. Reach out to me and remind me what exactly I'm supposed to be doing jewelry-wise, because my memory is horrible and I get so much stuff. But I can definitely do some fun things with this. I have done similar before. That's some pretty stuff in there. I don't know if you can see it, but some really cool beads and stuff. Alright, Skittles stuff, Metal Gears. Alright. Well, now that I've spoiled the surprise, let's get on to the surprise. What's in box number... the second one. We have 1 Maverick. Always good for parts. We have, ooh, the ultimate snipe blast. I have the blasters that these lock into. We have another Maverick. Can never have too many Mavericks. I think I gave 2 to Brett recently, so now I'm restocked. Oh, sweet Jesus. That is cool. Some of you, most of you, are probably far too young to recognize this symbol, but it's from the Wolfpack Lego sets from my childhood, which I actually have a section of them in my castle, which may or may not be gone over today. It may come up later, but they've always been one of my favorite factions in the old Lego, and that is entirely too cool. That is so going in my loadout, because they do actually allow these shields. John actually runs a Lego shield as on his arm, so that is definitely where this is going. That is awesome. Yes, that is so cool. You spoil me, sir. Spoil. Alright, final package. Let's see what this madman has in store for me next. Another Maverick! You can never have too many. Why is this one heavier? Ooh! A triad with its lower barrel brast. Ooh. Triads are good to begin with, but an upgraded triad is fabulous. Oh, okay, I gotcha. You've singled it. He singled the triad, so these are dart holders, and then he's got the brast one on the bottom. I meant to do that. That is really cool. I'll have to give that a paint job and add that to my loadout. A Maverick! A Tech Target Eliminator that's been re-barreled. What did you use for the rebarreling? Is it PEX? It looks like red PEX. And even the dart holders have been rebarreled. That is very nice. Very nice. I've yet to rebarrel an old one. I've got a couple of the new ones. Ooh, look at that. Somebody finally got me a 4 victory to replace the one that was perniciously stolen at Fort Warden. You're out there somewhere. I will find you. Fantastic. So now I've got both holsters. I found one at Goodwill, but it didn't have the holster. So I only had one holster. And now I've got one with both holsters. That is awesome. Thank you. And at least I'm hoping this is for me and not part of something else. Okay, so yes, I need to get in touch with you and discuss all of the things that we have agreed upon as far as making jewelry and mod exchange and all of that. General topics, still not taking generally open to commissions. People keep emailing me and asking about commissions. I just don't have time at the moment. I wish I could. When I get some of Jomo's stuff done and get my 2 big projects done, I will then hopefully be able to do commissions again. But keep in mind, there's about a 6 months worth of backlog requests. So if you send me a request now, you're going to be on the bottom of a very long list. So do keep that in mind. Not being open to commission also includes not being able to provide quotes, because that takes time and research. And if I had time to be doing that, I'd have time to do commissions. So keep that in mind. Yes, it has started raining. It does that around here. Okay, so thank you all so much for this stuff. There is just some really, really cool stuff in this haul. The shield. Oh, that is my childhood right there. That is awesome. Okay. Thank you all so much. Comments, questions, concerns, ideas, questions for next week's Q&A. Please put them in this video, and I will compile 2 pages worth. So if I didn't get you this time, put yourself down next time. I try to do them in the order that they are submitted. So, yeah. All right. Thank you for watching.